Hi, fourth grade. I hope you're doing well today. Good to see you. Well, let's use our protractors to measure an angle in degrees. Look at this example. I have an angle. I know it's an angle because I see my two rays here, my ray AC and my ray AB meet at the same endpoint A. So this is called an angle, and my vertex is A. So do you recall how to name this angle? Well, we can call it angle CAB or angle BAC, where the vertex is always in the middle of those three letters. And remember that I capitalize the letters because my points are always capitalized. Okay, now let's use a protractor. Here's a protractor that is measuring our angle BAC. Okay, so let's look here. What do we need to do? Where do we put our protractor to measure an angle? Well, first and foremost, in the center of our protractor, we have to, and the center on your protractor, you might have a tiny hole right in the middle, or you might just have a dot. Okay, for me, I have a protractor that looks like this, so I just have a little dot. But you might have a hole. Okay, so you're going to put your center of your protractor on the vertex of your angle. Then you're going to move around your protractor so that one of the rays on your angle is horizontal here, okay? And is flat, is lying flat here. Notice here at this end it says 0, and at this end it says 0, right? It can either say 180 or 0, 0 or 180. Do you see here? Okay, so you're going to make sure it lies flat and it meets and it matches the horizontal line here that extends to 0 or 180 on either side. Okay, so those two conditions have to be met to measure your angle correctly. Okay, and so once your center of your protractor is at the vertex, okay, and then one of your rays is horizontal to 0 degrees or 180 degrees, okay, you're all set to go. Now look here, okay, notice here I have two sets of numbers. I have numbers at the top here, oops, sorry, and I have numbers at the bottom here, okay? So the numbers at the top, we call it the outer scale because it's outside of the protractor, okay? Not of the protractor, but it's, outside, okay? And then we call numbers that are inside called the inner scale, okay? It's called the inner scale here. Now, do you think it's better for us to measure angle BAC using the outer scale or the inner scale? Notice the outer scale here, starting from the left side, it starts at 0, then it goes to 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way to 180. Notice the inner scale here, okay, it starts at 0 on the right side, and starts at 0, 10, 20, 30, and it goes all the way to 180 here, okay. Let's use the outer scale, okay. Use the scale where you can start at 0, okay, and that'll be the easiest. So it'll depend on where your angle is pointing towards, okay, where your angle opens up, okay, and where you place your protractor, that you can use the inner or outer scale. But use the inner or outer scale depending on if it starts at 0. So I see here, this starts at 0 here, or it can start at 180 with the inner scale. So I'm going to start with the outer scale because I want to start from 0, okay? So if I measure from 0 all the way to here, where my ray AC is, I see that it's between 40 and 50. It's halfway between 40 and 50. So what degrees is that? What's halfway between 40 and 50? It's 45, okay? So using the outer scale, we see that ray AC passes through the 45 degree mark, see right here. So the measure of the angle is 45 degrees. All right, here's another example. Now we have angle DEF. Again, where's our vertex? Vertex is E, And notice it's at the center here, okay, of the protractor, okay? And then we moved around the protractor until one of the rays, and in this case EF, hit 0, okay, on this side, okay? So notice it hit 0, so it's horizontal to the ground, so it's straight down to the ground, right? Okay, so now I can measure this correctly. Now, should I use the inner scale or the outer scale to measure my angle DEF? Well, let's see. If I start with the outer scale, I'm looking at the numbers. It starts at 180, 170, 160, 150. I guess I can use the outer scale, but it'll make my um, math a little bit harder because I have to subtract. I'll have to subtract 180 from 110, okay? And so, but if I start at 0 using the inner scale here, okay, I just have to see where it lies, okay? So 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then my ray ED passes through 70, okay? So we're going to use the inner scale, and then I see that angle DEF is 70 degrees. All right, now it's your turn. Pause the video and try this on your own. All right, welcome back. So let's look here. We have angle GHK. Again, notice that they put the vertex H in the center of the protractor, and they made sure one of the rays passes through 0, okay, on either side of the protractor. So they use the inner scale here because the inner scale has 0 here with this ray and it passes through there, okay? So first, is a measure of angle GHK less than or greater than 90 degrees? Well, where's 90 degrees using the inner scale? Oh, here it is. In fact, 90 degrees is in the same spot whether or not we use the inner scale or the outer scale, okay? So it's right here, okay? So 90 degrees is the angle that'll go all the way to here, but our angle GHK actually goes past 90 degrees, so it is not less than 90 degrees. And the measure of angle GHK, so I'm going to see where this line goes through. It goes, remember, we're using the inner scale here, right? So it goes between 130 and 140. What is halfway between 130 and 140? That's 135. So the measure of angle GHK is 135 degrees. All right, so now let's look at this here, okay? Number 15. So is the measure of angle JKL less than or greater than 90 degrees? Well, let's see. So I'm going to look at my vertex K is in the center, and then they're using this ray here, KL, and it's hitting 0 right here, okay? So should we use the outer scale or the inner scale? Let's use the outer scale because the outer scale has the ray that hits 0 right there, okay? We're going to use the outer scale. Now, where's 90 degrees? 90 degrees is right here. So this angle, okay, if this ray went all the way here, that'd be 90, right? But it goes past 90, right? So it is not less than 90 degrees. Then what's the measure of angle JKL? Well, again, we're using the outer scale, right? Because the outer scale has this ray hitting 0. So all the way here. It hits exactly at, it goes through exactly at 110 degrees. Okay, so using the outer scale and it hits at 110 degrees. So the measure of angle JKL is 110 degrees. All right, nice. So let's move on. Please try numbers 16 and 17 on your own. Now, as you practice this, I would recommend you guys moving, if you have the book, you should move the book or you should move your head so you can see, where the numbers lie. That's what I did, okay? So you're back. Let's look at this. So we're going to work on number 6 first. And they place a protractor here for us where the vertex is at the center of the protractor, and then they use this ray here, okay, and it goes through the outer scale number here, right? It goes through because there's a 0 in the outer scale, okay? But it's hard for me, to like twist my neck. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move that piece of paper around. So then, I love this now, because then now this line here, this ray here is flat, is horizontal to the ground. So it's easier for me to read it now, okay? So what I would recommend is when there's angles that are not quite, one of the rays are not quite flat to the ground, you can move around your textbook or workbook or your paper to make sure it's flat on the ground, okay? Because for me, it's easier to do that. And then I can read the angle measure better. So let's take a look. Okay, my vertex is at the center, and this ray goes through 0, and we're going to use the outer scale here. Okay, so using the outer scale, I see that this ray cuts right through, actually, it goes through 40 degrees. Okay, sweet. So let's go back to the original paper, which is right here, and I remember this, when I measured it, is 40 degrees, so the measure of angle E is 40 degrees. Let's do 17. I'm gonna move the paper around. Ta-da! So I moved it around. So this ray is horizontal to the ground. And this ray, the center is, the vertex is at the center of the protractor. And then this ray, it goes through 0 at using the inner or outer scale. It goes through 0 at the inner scale. So let's use the inner scale to measure this ray. Okay. So using the inner scale, it looks like it's right between 120 and 130. So what's halfway between 120 and 130? That's 125 degrees. Okay. All right, so I made a note here. Well, when I measured it and I flipped it, it was 125 degrees, so the measure of angle F is 125 degrees. Now, when an angle measures less than 90, it's called an acute angle. When a measure is between 90 and 180 degrees, it's called an obtuse angle. So 40 degrees is less than 90, so angle E is an acute angle. 125 degrees is between 90 and 180 degrees, so measure of angle F is an obtuse angle. All right, way to go. Okay, so that's all for today, and I will see you tomorrow during our live class. Bye.